So we are live right now. Welcome, everybody. I want to welcome you back, everybody, to Levremembers. Let's give it a few seconds and have some people join. Today is an important day. Every day is an important day, obviously, with what we have going on in our world today, especially in our country with the dictatorship, the authoritarianship that's being uh, put upon us. Yesterday was a huge day for all of us. Yesterday, we were able to let the victims' voices finally be heard. And it was incredible to see some of the bipartisan effect of it. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Uh, Today's a special day from a standpoint that here we always talk about the corruption. We always talk about what Trump's doing behind the scenes, primarily focusing on, immigration, focusing on the way he's trying to take away our rights, trying to take away, destroy our constitution with the tariffs, what he's doing overseas. And there's so much constantly that we're here talking about that the one thing I felt today when I woke up that the service is one of the most important things that we don't talk about is our health. And when I woke up and I turned on the TV and I started preparing to write my Substack letter for the day, and I started watching that maniac RFK sit up there and blabber some of the stuff that he was coming out of his mouth that I couldn't even, and I'm not a physician and I'm not a doctor, and I try to stick to the facts of what I know. But when I saw that, I couldn't even imagine that this is the man that right now is, in charge of our healthcare. So it inspired me to write my Substack letter today, which I talk about some of the crazy stuff that I started realizing when I started writing it. But today we are honored, really honored to have, and it's his first time on Substack. So I want everybody to give him a warm welcome, and I want to make sure he joined today, and everybody give him a follow and a subscription, and welcome Congressman Raul Ruiz. Did I pronounce it correctly? Ruiz?
Yeah, Raul
Okay,
Ruiz.
thank you.
Yeah.
Ruiz of California. Congressman Ruiz represents California's District 25. He brings an extraordinary background, folks. He has an emergency physician and a strong advocate for public health, veterans, and working families. And he's not just a regular legislator. He's someone who's been on the front line, who knows firsthand what it seems to save lives and fight for healthier communities. His journey from being a son of farm workers in Coachella Valley to graduating from Harvard Medical School to becoming a national leader in Congress is nothing short of inspiring. Congressman Ruiz has also been a trusted voice on healthcare policy, disaster preparedness, and ensuring science and medicine and guidance and decisions impact millions of Americans today. But in addition to that, his work on healthcare policy and disaster preparedness and protecting science, he's also served as ranking member of the Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic, where he played a key role in the oversight of our nation's pandemic response and defending the integrity of our public health care agencies. And today, more than ever, and we couldn't even plan it better. But today, his voice, especially critical as America faces renewed challenges to science, health, and truth. So, Congressman Ruiz, let's just jump into it. I know your time is short. You have a lot going on with everything. I'd like for our viewers to hear from you directly. You've gone from a son from farm workers in Coachella Valley to a Harvard-trained physician to a leader in Congress. How that personal journey shaped you the way you approach public service and health challenges facing our country today.
It's all about people. Growing up in a trailer park with a farm worker community, both my parents worked in the fields with calloused hands and tired backs day in and day out with minimal rest to give us opportunities they didn't have. My older brother was the first to graduate from high school in the family. He was the first to go to college. I followed. I was the first to go to graduate school and become a professional in a field like medicine. And so it's always been my dream and my purpose in life to serve the community, especially those that struggle, those that have been left behind and left without, to really stand up for the underdog, stand up for everyday Americans to make sure they can live their full potential. And when I approach policy, I approach it from a patient first perspective, like a doctor. What's going to be best for the people? What's going to be best for my patient? And I implement the plan, a diagnosis, a treatment plan, and then I evaluate whether it works. And I put the people and my patients front and center in everything that I do. And that's why what's happening in America right now is very concerning. It's very concerning because our healthcare system is being politicized to a degree of quackery, of ideology. It's being dismantled, and it's weakening our ability to keep Americans healthy and keep Americans safe. Our health security is disintegrating before our eyes, and our health is connected to global health. We know that pandemics can spread so easily because people's travel capacity. And so we need to be able to keep and protect the integrity of science and the scientific method and the ability to look at data, understand it, debate it openly, transparently, and then come up with the best recommended course of action to save lives.
I mean, it's incredible to see, to watch somebody like RFK that's not a doctor, that has no medical experience, to sit up there, and this is the man that's in charge right now of our healthcare. I mean, to the fact that yesterday, me and my wife, we live in Florida, and now with a crazy Governor DeSantis that we have over here, they're pushing literally now to do away with all vaccines. Now think about it. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but my wife looked up and said, "I can't believe it. We got to move out of the state because
Yeah.
what happens if kids?" I mean, what is your take on what do you see? I mean, that's taking us back from hundreds of years from what we fought for all these years of science, medicine, to be able to go to not worry about sending our kids to school. Our life expectancy went from, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years old to now we're at 70 or something years old, and now they want to take us back.
Yeah, look, I'm a person. I go to church. I believe in God, and I believe in science too. They're not separate. And when you have the Secretary of Health going up there and speaking of spiritual ideology, that it is God's will and your God-given right, and why would you put anything into force anything into people's bodies, all this other stuff, and speaking in a very religious point of view, then it's concerning when we know that there are certain reasons why we have scientifically proven safe and effective vaccines that have almost eliminated measles, that pretty much eradicated polio, and that got us out of the COVID pandemic. If we did not have the vaccine, we would still be having thousands of people dying daily if it wasn't for the vaccine. So this is very concerning. And what you're going to see in Florida is you're going to see these viruses growing in really crowded spaces like schools. We know, those of us that are parents of young kids, my kids, on average, kids get sick 7, 8 times a year, mostly during the winter, because they share their virus with other kids in their classrooms. And so measles, if it comes in, it's going to get shared. It's going to grow. We've had the largest amount of measles, over 1,400 cases now in over 30 years. And you have a Secretary of Health and Human Services that is going out there spewing that vitamin A is a cure. Well, guess what? Vitamin A, if taken too much, can be a poison. There's such a thing as vitamin A toxicity. In fact, in that small town in Texas, you had measles infected pediatric patients in one room, and next to that room, you would have vitamin A toxicosis, patients with vitamin A toxicosis, because they believed the Secretary of Health and Human Services, that one would assume would understand that they're not a doctor and they shouldn't be speaking out of their mouth that way. And because a lot of people that follow him are going to believe it and they're going to get sick. Just like the other day when he said that he can diagnose a child. He walked through an airport and saw and could tell by looking at a kid's face that they have a mitochondrial disease. Whoa, this guy is a miracle worker. Like he all of a sudden jumped from, the diagnostic workup and the history and the physical exam, and just by looking at people, he can make a diagnosis of a mitochondrial cellular level disease. I mean, this is quackery. This is dangerous. And that's the type of foolish conviction that he has, that he's bringing to the CDC, and he's forcing through manipulation, through chicanery, through being a trickster and forcing people to fire people that disagree, hiring people that are sort of like-minded, and making people write and agree with him in their communications. How, he says he wants to bring trust after Republicans have manufactured mistrust of the CDC during the COVID pandemic. And now they're using the manufactured mistrust that they've created to push their quackery, pseudoscience, unfounded treatments on the American people in the name of building trust. It's the same old game and formula that they continue to play.
I think Senator Cantwell today said it very bluntly and perfectly. She said, Robert F. Kennedy, you are a charlatan. The way he talks out of both sides of his mouth is pretty incredible, especially when it comes to the vaccine. Because here you go, Trump is trying to take credit for the warp speed, for the vaccine, for all saving all lives, and at the same time you got RFK sitting there talking about how the vaccine killed more people than it saved. As a politician and a doctor, help us make sense of how can you have that sit there and play out? Because as American people, we're speaking there as parents, we don't know what do we do.
I think that now more than ever is parents should really have serious conversations with their doctors. And if their doctors are nonpartisan, aren't ideologues, if their doctors are true to the study and science of medicine, doctors will be able to advise those parents of those children. The difference and the dangerous part of this is in states like Florida or in the CDC. If they take certain vaccines off the schedule for recommendations,
Right.
then insurance companies won't pay for them anymore. So let's say you're a working family and yes, you choose to take a vaccine. Now you have to pay out of pocket, perhaps in certain states, right?
That's a
Costs are
great
going
point.
higher
That's a
because
great
of what
point.
they're doing when costs are already high. And so that's the difference. Trump, during the early parts of COVID, uh, during that administration, developed, and it's not them, it's Pfizer and Moderna and all these others. They developed the vaccine in record time, and it's an mRNA vaccine. And the reason is because uh, several things. We had that SARS outbreak years earlier. People rushed to develop a vaccine. mRNA technology was catching wind. They started using that, and they had to pause it. So when COVID came around, it was already, let's say over 50% developed. And the Chinese initially, there was, whether it was a leak or the scientists intentionally put it out there, put out the sequence of this virus for the global community to get it and study it. And so everybody rushed to develop this mRNA vaccine. Thank goodness all of those things happened because in record time, we had a vaccine. It was the Biden administration that performed an incredible feat of vaccinating as many people as they vaccinated by a coordinated effort with states, et cetera. And they did that. But the thing that the Trump administration got accomplished was developing the vaccine. And the vaccine helped save millions of lives. It did. Look,
It's ironic that Trump
we're
can't even
able to
take credit
not
for it. They won't even let him take credit for it.
exactly. We're able to not wear masks, surgical masks. We're able to go to school. We're able to go to work. We're able to go to grocery store. We're able to live our lives like we did pre-pandemic, right? We learned a lot along the way. We got some bruises and we got some good information. But at the same time, a lot of people died. Millions of people died. And to say that more people died from the vaccine than the actual virus is completely unfounded, unscientific, untrue. It's a flat out lie. And for a Secretary of Health and Human Services to say that, he should resign. In fact, the Democratic doctors in Congress today. All six of us called for his resignation. We warned the Senate during his confirmation process that he would be a danger to our healthcare system. Today, uh, Secretary Kennedy is the greatest threat to our nation's health.
I want you folks to, right now we have a little over 500 people, and keep smashing those hearts and keep, retweeting this and making sure everybody out there, because this message is extremely important. I know we talk about a lot of things and all the craziness that Donald Trump does, but this has to do with our kids. This has to do with us. There's just think about what we're just are talking about. Not, the Secretary of our Health is the most dangerous person in our country right now, because what he's trying to do is trying to do away with the actual things that we spent years and years and decades to perfect, to be able to live a normal lives, to do away with diseases like measles and stuff like that, which now this man is saying that he could walk through an airport and diagnose you by just looking at you. They're talking about religious stuff, because what I always said this, because this is part of that cult mentality, because that's the people that are following that cult mentality, that believe into that type of stuff. I mean, but let me ask you this, Congressman, with what do you see? I mean, like, do you see some hope? I mean, like, because like I understand that yes, we're calling on him to fire, but obviously he's not going anywhere. Trump's not going to fire him right now, and they're both in cahoots of what's going on. What are the steps? Like, what can we do? What is happening? I mean, right now to be able, because right now we have all of these people that are getting fired. We have people that are leaving in the CDC. Uh, God knows who's going in and what is now going to be implemented. You have states like Florida that are just now doing away with vaccines. Like, what is, for the subscribers out there, for the people that are listening, watching, as a doctor, as a congressman, somebody that sits on both sides of this, give us some advice, some hope, or what can we do, or what are we doing?
Well, I think what you're doing right now, Lev, with this live podcast, speaking about this, making sure the American people understand what's actually happening, is the very first step. The second is not to stay silent, not to stay complicit, not to allow things to happen in front of our eyes without our active participation in making sure that we decry, we condemn, and we speak the truth on behalf of our patients, on behalf of the American people, and we really push back on what's happening, right? And to do so in the cafes, in our work rooms, in our by the water station, in our synagogues, in our churches, our mosques, to really have the serious conversation about it. Those guys are bullies. They want to wave their flags, shout loud and get in your face. We're not going to cower. We're not going to stay silent. We're going to yell back. We're going to be in their face as much as we can. If they're in our face, we're going to be in their face, and that's what we have to do to really make our point, and so that it can get across to people that are still trying to figure things out, right? And so the other thing is, in terms of Robert Kennedy Jr., we've called for his resignation. We've written to Trump to fire him. The next step would be to impeach him. But right now we know that with the Republican majority, they're so afraid of Trump they won't impeach anybody. That the Trump doesn't give them permission to impeach. Look, they don't even want to vote on the Epstein files. They're so afraid of Trump and they're so afraid of their base. They just don't want to talk about it. So this is would be the next step. The House, we win back the House. The House will have the majority. We don't know about the Senate. Of course, we need the Senate to vote to remove, but at least historically speaking, we can impeach and have all our reasons why. Now, the thing that the Republicans don't want to do is they don't want to hold the administration accountable. They don't want to do their oversight responsibilities on the administration. They don't want to demand transparency. So, as Democrats in the minority, for example, we're going to have to work in different ways through these venues to shed light on what's happening. In fact, I'm organizing as part of the Dem caucus a shadow hearing to bring in those individuals from the CDC that recently resigned, that got fired, to talk about
That's great
what
work.
are the details. Tell us specifically, how is he manipulating the information? How is he coercing you and others to spew his unfounded, unhinged, fringe ideology and posing it as science that could put people's lives in jeopardy? So these are the things I think we need to make available and transparent for the American people, so that when we have the ability to confirm and the next Secretary of Health and Human Services, we can do so knowing that that individual should not be a political whack, ideologue quack. That individual should be somebody who understands and believes in the integrity of science, the scientific method, and use evidence to inform their decisions on what's going to be best to protect the American people's health.
Uh, Congressman, I want to thank you for those words, and I want to just say to you, from all our followers and subscribers here, first of all, make sure to subscribe to Congressman Ruiz and follow him. And please let us know anything you need, because I agree with you. I think what you're doing by putting together those hearings, and the more information we get out of what is actually happening, is because what Trump and they try to do is rewrite history, cover up. It's all about cover-ups. And the two most things that I think that the country could stand together on, the two things that I think that Trump can't, and I think push us around on, is the Epstein files and health. I think those are two things that are not partisan issues. I think we all, it doesn't matter if you're red, white, if we all bleed the same way, and we all want to see, don't want to see pedophiles get away with criminal and attacking our kids and doing the stuff that they do. So those are the two things that I think, and one of the things we're making a push here, and if there's anything you need in our help here, and we're going to meet right now at our community and others like the Midas Touch, my son Aaron Parnas and others, we're going to be calling out all these congressmen and congresswomen, because I know a lot of the media and a lot of the focus on the big names like Johnson and, all of these guys. No, but there's over 200 of them that are trying to stay quiet. They're trying not to get caught up in this Epstein stuff, into this RFK stuff, because they got the midterms coming up and they're trying to slide up. They don't want to go out there on record. That's why you don't hear them. But we're going to make sure that we put the spotlight on all of them, not just them, but all 200 of them. And we're going to make sure to see who votes, how they vote. And because I don't think we need to wait all the way till the midterms. We're going to try to do it now, because when it comes to our health, if we could get, because just think about it, it's 4 or 5 right now with the Epstein files. We need 2. If we could get, we have a Marjorie Taylor Greene, folks. We have Lauren Boebert. We have Mace. I mean, we have 3 of the staunchest Trump supporters signing the bill, and you're telling me we can't get 2 more. So I believe we will. What I'm hearing is we will. From my sources in Congress, I'm hearing that there's some major play, and I feel the same way with what was happening with health. I feel that there are plenty of your people in Congress that are Republican, that are not the hardcore Trumpers. They're scared of him. They're scared of being, either politically or actually, because of where they are. But I feel that this is an issue that if we help you and get your voice and be an extension of your voice to what you're doing, I think we could be able to get this done quicker and get RFK out of there, the quicker the better. Because I mean, to hear the things that I've been listening today, as a father of 7, I really, and I don't scare easily, and I'm scared, like literally, don't not know what to do.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Lev. This was my very first Substack interview. We just opened an account today just so that we can do this with you. I appreciate your viewership. I appreciate those that have subscribed to my page. I look forward to doing more of this with you, Lev, as we continue.
Absolutely.
We'll be posting more on our page as well. Thank you for the opportunity, Lev, and I appreciate that you're bringing light to this darkness, and you're also bringing hope through transparency and education to the American people. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. God bless you, and we're here for you for whatever you need. So just let us know. Have a great day. Hey everyone. Well, that was a incredible treat today. For we had not only a congressman, but he's a doctor, he's a physician, and he's an all around great human being. Congressman Ruiz is fighting every day, in his district, not only against this maniac RFK, but also with all the immigration stuff that happens in his community in California with what they just dealt with. Unfortunately, he only had a few, not too much time today, but we're going to have him back on and we're going to talk about other things and we're going to amplify his voice. For all of you out there, please make sure to follow him, subscribe to him. It was his first day on here, but we're going to have him back on here because one thing I realized today, with all the craziness we have going on, that we have a maniac in charge of our health department. And after today, I promise you, he is on my list, and we are going to amplify all these voices and make sure because to see what they're doing, not just for each and every one of us, but more importantly for our kids, for our grandkids, and for our democracy is what it is. So thank you all for joining. There's a lot more coming today. Make sure at 3 o'clock we have our Unleashed with Michael Cohen, myself, and Malcolm Nance. Hopefully, Malcolm is back in town today. And plus, I'm working on some breaking news that has to do with stuff that's going on between Russia, China, Ukraine, and also his Trump's planned invasion into Chicago. That's right, folks. I call it an invasion because he's getting the National Guard ready, and that's his next ploy. So we're a lot to go into, but this was a special that I wanted you guys to really hear because today, when I saw RFK up there, I realized that we have a major, major problem here besides everything else. And to end it off, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to pass this on, spread the message. You know what to do. And for those of you, I know a lot of you have been asking, you contribute by Venmo at Lev-Parnas, PayPal at Lev Parnas, and Zelle, the real Lev Parnas, at gmail.com. I think that's it. But I'll see you later on. To have a great day. I'll see you in a little bit. Take care.